Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good night. I'm trying to come online a little bit earlier. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm just doing the best I can. Doing the best I can as I can. Where is my moderator? So I'm gonna do a poll tonight. So I did a little poll, and let's see if anybody, moderator, if you, there you go, there you go. Let me go ahead. Oh, it's already moderator. Okay, already moderator. All right, perfect. All right, so let us go ahead and start. Tonight's live was a bit troubling to me initially. So I had said for a while that I was going to do, but it needed research. I was going to talk about, hold on, I gotta fix my thingy here. I was gonna talk about, let me see, about chakras and the astrological houses that they correspond in, or they correspond with, I should say. I came up against a lot of information, and the information that I came up against actually disturbed me quite a bit, only because there are suspicions that I have had for the longest time. And I've talked about before how I feel like the way that you're being attacked is too strategic to just be gang stalkers. The way gang stalking looks so all over the place. The way gang stalking looks like it's just random people following you. But the way that it is being done seems too coordinated and strategic to not be some sort of organization, society. And it's not the cartel. It's not a drug organization. The cartel is in the business of selling drugs. This is coordinated. This is something else. This is like a secret society. This is a secret society. I've been suspecting it for a very long time. This is some sort of like, and they call it a coven. I think it's Freemasons. In my city, I do. And when I say Freemasons, I really do think that there's something to do with men in the trades. I do. And I have my reasons. I'm not going to go into specific reasons. But they have these organizations. That's where all the secrecy comes from. And they bring people in under their wing, and it's under the guise of religion in some way, but it's really like, it's really witches, it's witchcraft, it's satanic, it's something like that. It's something like that, because it's very coordinated, the attacks. And when I was with my ex, I just knew there was something with him. I could tell. Spiritually, there was something. He was using my energy, or somebody was using my energy through him. There was something to do with energy, for sure. I knew it. There was something going on, for sure. So, anyway, I'm starting with that. This is how I suspect that this thing went. in my humble opinion, this is what I suspect. I suspect that the Spanish people, or the Latinos, because there's the Portuguese and the Spanish, which in my mind is the same thing, call me whatever. I suspect that they wanted a job done, and John Ferreira, I don't know what involvement he had with these people originally, but according to him, he was so-called in a relationship with a woman named Melissa. I don't know how true it is or not. I don't. Because this is a lying liar. So who knows? Daisy was calling him her friend, but I feel like there was something more between the two of them, because she called him her friend and he called her the girl. So clearly they're lying about something, the two of these people. So this happened. And then there was the weak crap that they were doing initially, just them, which is John's energy. Whenever John comes in the energy, you smell John, you see John, you feel John. The work is weak. And then there was the coordinated attacks. There was like all the Mexican covens. So see, there's the Colombians, the Mexicans, the Dominicans, but these weren't Dominicans, these were Mexicans. Mexican coven in the beginning, they were sending the dreams, but this was Mexican. Then there was at some point Dominicans, and then it started changing up. They got Nigerians involved, they got Haitians involved. They just kept going from place to place to place to get this done. They kept going. They kept looking for different types of work. But it's very coordinated. So they started learning something. Ukrainians, Russians, these people were definitely involved at some point. I personally think their work was the most trash. I don't even like acknowledge it at all. To be like, just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's something. There's something, and the reason I say there's something is because how do we think that all these people, they get into these buildings, they open the door of your house and they come in? It's this, like, it's trades. It's something to do with the trades. There's something to do with people in the trades. There are people in the trades. Makes me think of Masons. Makes me think of something. Anyways, it'll come out. It will. But I feel like, and they told them something about looking me in the face, that looking me in the face or looking me in the eyes is something, because as soon as they see me pop up, they don't want to look at me, they turn around, they panic. Like, I don't know, like, if I look at people, like, do they pass away? Like, I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, so I wanted to start with that. I remember when I initially brought up, the night that I was talking about the chakras, I was under a lot of spiritual attack that night, more than normal. And I kept thinking, like, why? Why so much anxiety about talking about chakras? And then when I said, there's something about chakras and astrological houses, I was under attack again. And I couldn't figure out why there was all this anxiety about the chakras and the astrological houses, because it was very obvious that every chakra was under attack. It was very, 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 very obvious. So tonight I took some, I wasn't done work, but I was like, at some point I gotta do it. I gotta do the research. So I took some time and I looked it up, and I was getting the impression of why this was an issue. So what we are going to talk about tonight is the association between the chakras that are being attacked and your astrological houses. So hang in there. First of all, I think everybody knows the kind of attacks that you face when you're being gang stalked. So people create illusions, and I mean they go to great lengths to create out of this world illusions, like all kinds of illusions that you would not naturally think about. Like, I mean, they will faking relationships is like a simple illusion. I'm saying these people will build a whole community around you. These people will build a network of friendships, relationship, like the illusions are insane. So there's the illusions, there's the slander, which follows the same suit, in that it is just out of this world, the amount of slander. And I'm not talking about they're slandering you here and there. I mean, they will come to your out. They used to stand outside my store, and everyone that walks by, they say something negative about the store to literally everybody that walks by the store. And it doesn't even have to be something relevant to the person walking by. It could literally be like, they'll say like, oh, I wanted my size and they don't have size for me. Like this 50, 60-year-old lady was telling people that we don't have sizes for her. Meantime, it's like very young clothes. Like they just, and they send anybody to do it. They just want to create a bad reputation. So there's the slander there. And I mean, like, they were, they would tell somebody I'm a witch, and then they would send that person spell work. And I don't put it past anybody in this situation to have been going through the same thing, because I now realize that they were telling a lot of people the same thing. They were telling a lot of people this person or that person is a witch. It's not just me. Today I reposted something that another girl posted where somebody was saying that she's a witch, and I'm like, oh my god, they said the same thing about me. So they say you're a witch, and then they send spell work at these people that you should not have an issue with, you don't even know them, etc., etc. So that happens. There's the gaslighting that they use, where you know something's happening, they know it's happening, and then they try to tell you that you're crazy and it's not happening. The police do this, a bunch of people do this. There is the emotional abuse that they try to put you through. They try to make sure people think that it's like all the betrayals that they force to happen in your life. It's like all the people who are supposed to support you, that they make sure these people drop you, or you have falling outs with them or whatever. So you know, they come in the comments. Like last night someone called, said my hair was a wig from AliExpress. It's like things that, you know, for me, I know the situation I'm in, so something like that, it's like it's not gonna have enough any, it's ridiculous. It's like somebody just has nothing to say. But if you don't know what you're in, and you don't know you're being gang stalked, you don't know who's saying it, you don't know what's going on, you just think to yourself, oh my god, like why would somebody say something like that about me? And then you might go home and maybe overthink it and think like, oh, does my hair look like a wig, let me prove it's not a wig. Like, but at the end of the day, it's not like, you know, once you know what you're going through, these things are not relevant. But it's when you don't know what you're going through that you realize, like, or sorry, once you know what you're going through, you realize what's going on. But when you don't know what you're going through, it's like it affects you, it really bothers you, etc. They want you to either stop healing or not be able to heal at all. And healing is a very broad term. Healing doesn't necessarily mean your physical body needs to heal. Healing could also be your spiritual body needs to heal. Healing could be you know, you're having a streak of bad luck, or you're under judgment, or you know, you're facing karma or whatever. Like, healing is a very broad term. They don't want you to heal. You can clearly see that I've healed. You can clearly see that, first of all, I'm not in anxiety, I'm not in fear. You can see that you know, I'm taking care of myself, I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do, I'm happy, I'm healthy, etc. So it's a broad term, but at the end of the day, it's like they don't even want you to start healing. And if you do start healing, they don't want you to continue healing. So if I say I forgive him, he starts attacking me again, because that is part of healing. That's like the ultimate healing, is forgiving the person who did all of this stuff to you. They obviously want to stop your income. They want to get you out of your home. And then there are the psychic attacks. And the psychic attacks, that is again a very broad term. In my mind, maybe there are people who differentiate psychic attacks in multiple different ways, but for me, the term psychic attack is a broad term, and psychic attack for me covers everything. So while I'm at it, I did want to talk about something, because I wanted to show what you want to look for if you have an altar. So first of all, if you have an altar, you keep water on your altar, which you got to change every day. And when you're new to this, you don't know. When you're just waking up and you're not being guided by anyone, you don't know. So I want to show you what energy looks like in water. And I'm going to put this really close. I don't know. Hold on. I want to show it. So these bubbles right here, these big air bubbles, I don't know if you can see, that is what trapped energy looks like. And there are some energies, now this is energy, and I would call, this is like what a psychic attack looks like, and this is how you would recognize it, okay? So what would happen is this little jar here would be sitting, and it doesn't have to be on an altar. It could be just be your personal glass of water sits in your house, and the water is just plain, like the bottom. It would just be plain like this. And someone comes to sit next to you and they have a demonic attachment, and all of this gets bubbled up as they sit next to you. All of their energy would get trapped in the water like so. If you're sitting in your house, for people who cannot see energy, which most of us can't, and then bubbles start collecting in the water that are bigger bubbles like this from water that's just sitting still, this is negative energy being thrown at you, and energy gets trapped in the water. Now, in the beginning, I used to experiment with it where I used to have glasses that would have so much energy in it, and I'd have to sage and sage and sage, like maybe sometimes twice a day, and it would take 2 or 3 days. All the bubbles would go away out of the water without me touching the water or doing anything to the water. The bubbles would go away in that glass of water with me saging the entire space. All right, this is different bubbles than I just take some water out of the, like if I just take a water out of my faucet and I put it down, the bubbles that would come from the water settling, because you have water coming out of a faucet hitting the bottom of the glass and coming back up, so the bubbles that would settle in this would be very, very, very tiny air bubbles. These are natural bubbles from a glass sitting down or water settling down. But these big air bubbles, this is negative energy being trapped. So this is a good indication that you need to sage your environment. If you're out and about around people and you're sitting next to someone at a table, or someone comes into your vicinity and a glass of water starts bubbling up like that, which I've seen multiple times, you need to stay away from that person. And when you go home, you need to do a cleanse. I'm being serious. You do not, one thing about energy and spiritual attacks, you do not want to stay with that energy for even 10 minutes, 15 minutes, nothing. You get rid of it, and you need to open a door and you need to let it get out of your space. You do not want to sit with this energy. So I know that I have a lot of cross watchers and gang stalkers and whatever. Take some information and take some advice, because you guys are under heavy spiritual attack and you have no idea. So I would go buy a sage bundle, if anything, and hopefully stick around and like learn something, because this is a pretty good life for that. So I wanted to show that because I had talked about it before and I never got a chance to show it. So I'm glad that, hold on. I'm glad that I still have this little water glass here that I can talk about that and show you. So let us talk about the gang stalking process, how the chakras are attacked, what houses they align with, and what the objectives are in everything that's being done here, because this is extremely strategic. So what I believe is that first they attack they attack every single chakra. They attack your chakras, and then the area of your life associated with the chakra falls. This leads you, just the attack to the chakra, leaves you open for demonic attack or demonic possession. If you have very strong, healthy chakras, the attack or the possession is almost impossible. So what happens here is they attack when your chakras are aligned and they're healthy. An aligned chakra and a healthy chakra leaves you in a very healthy vibration. So you're happy, you're peaceful, you're loving, you get along with people, you know how to handle conflict, etc., etc., etc. However, once your chakras are attacked, it correlates to a part of yourself that becomes misaligned, or multiple parts of yourself that become misaligned, that leads to your vibration being lower. When your vibration is lower, things happen like your energy is drained, your motivation is drained, your sleep is affected, you feel demotivated, you don't want to move forward with your life, etc., etc. It makes it easier for you to be more pessimistic, more angry, more hateful, more angry at the world. And then all of these attacks, they work on you. As you're more angry, as you're more bitter, as you're more vengeful, it's easier for these demonic energies to take a hold of you. Now, a lot of these emotions are natural. It is natural for you to sometimes be angry and sometimes have these emotions, but for you to stay in that vibration, for you to be in a permanent state in that vibration is an issue. So a lot of the times what they may have to settle for is they can't keep you in that vibration, but they'll be able to say, well, you know what? You have something coming up that's important. We're going to throw off your vibration and give you a bit of bad luck just for that situation. So say, for example, you're in the house with a spouse and you guys generally get along very well. They cannot leave you in that horrible vibration with your spouse. But what they might do is say, you know, they're sensing, or through divination, they know you guys are about to be intimate. They'll cause an argument. They'll send a projection, a psychic attack, and then you guys end up finding yourself like every time we're about to be intimate, we fight. Every time we're about to have a talk to resolve some issue or some conflict that we're having, we fight. So there tends to be issues that constantly happen, and that could be in friendships, that can be in whatever. And this is something that I know for a fact because it's happened to me over and over and over and over and over again. It's been nothing that, oh, hold on, I gotta fix this. It's nothing that I can say that I need to guess about. Like, I know for a fact, like I've seen this play out all the time because it used to happen to me. So what they can do from your vibration lowering, from you being in a bad mood, from you being pessimistic, from you being depressed, is they block your path forward. They use that energy and they have to be consistent about it. It's just like gang stalking, where on the street where they follow you everywhere, it won't work if they just do it one day or just on Tuesdays or every other day. They have to be consistent about it round the clock all the time, and that is what they do. That is what they continue to do. Is like every single day it'll be like they're always trying to make you depressed, they're always trying to make you angry, they're always trying to push you over the edge. They'll wait until you're in a conversation with someone you don't quite like, and then they'll send a negative thought, and then they'll send a psychic attack. So you tend to find yourself in situations where it's like, I'm never getting along with people, or this is happening, or that is happening, and then you're telling people like somebody's, you know, doing something because I'm not getting along with people, or everybody's arguing with me, or blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's not that anybody's doing anything in the 3D or nobody's doing anything in reality. It's just that they're sending psychic attacks to you. So this is what's causing like the disruption to your life. This is what's causing all the issues that you're having. So there's that. And it definitely, I talk about the North Node, and the North Node is basically your path forward in life. It's the lessons that you're supposed to learn. It's like what you're here for. And I really believe, from the way that I see it, it's like you're born and then you learn a whole bunch of lessons until you can step into your North Node. Like, you live in your South Node for a bit, and then you have to step into your North Node, which is your purpose. And in my case, it has been very rocky to make it to my North Node, for sure. Um, so yeah, we're working we're working through that. I think I'm already in it, but it's been a challenge. And I guess maybe that's just a spiritual ascension. I guess my North Node is to do with spirituality, so it involves a spiritual ascension. Um, what they do is they piss you off, and then they immediately send you low vibing thoughts. They project low vibing emotions on you. So for example, they used to send it anxiety attacks, and right when they send the anxiety attacks, then they send like these negative thoughts, like, what am I even doing this for? This is not even gonna work. There's no point in even doing it. And it was so crazy. It was like I was damn near hearing the voice in my head. I was damn near hearing this lunatic's voice. And I'm just like, wow, so this is how they do it. So they definitely just like, they always want you in a low vibration. They want you to give up on what you're doing. They want you to give up on your work. They want you to give up on yourself. They want you to lose your footing, your stability, and lose your way forward. Um, Another thing that they do is, I would notice that they want to manufacture car accidents. They've been trying to put me in car accidents for so long. And I'm sure they tried energetically to do this. And then it got to the point where it's like, people just so people have the whole time been driving so aggressively behind me that they come up really, really fast, as if they're about to crash into you. And then they hover behind you, like they bumper ride you. And then they just kind of like, they stay there to make you feel uncomfortable. But it doesn't work for me, and it's been happening so long anyway. I just like take my foot off the gas, and I just like hover. I just take my foot off the gas, and I just like drive really slow, and then they get embarrassed, and then they come out from behind you, because it's like a open road with all these open lanes and one car behind another car. So it's pretty obvious to anybody driving around and looking. But I think that what they want to do is they want to make you fearful of driving. And another girl said that to me. She said she had such a really bad car accident that it made her scared of driving. And she's like, she has anxiety. And then it kind of confirmed it to me the other day. I saw an ad, and it was basically talking about if you need anxiety from car accidents. No, no, I don't. you know, but that's just me. That's just me. Um, I do, I pray a lot, and obviously I do feel very protected, and I do feel like, hold on. Safi, did one of them, can you check that everything is together, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Don't let me have to remind you of stuff while I'm on live, please. Um, I feel like, obviously for me, I have a very strong faith. I stay, I pray a lot and whatnot. And not saying that other people don't, but they definitely gang up on you spiritually. They gang up on you spiritually, and they kind of cause these kind of things, and it doesn't have the effect that they want it to have. Like, they want you to be paranoid of driving. They want you to not get up in your car. I guess they want people to not be able to go to work and stay in their house and be scared. But it's like, for me, I've had two manufactured car accidents. Both of them ended up being at fault for the people who crashed into the back of my car. They were very minor. These people were the ones shaken. I wasn't. And, it just, like, it is what it is. I've had accidents in my life before, and I'm just not a person who's scared of getting back on the saddle. And you really have to be that kind of person when you're going through this situation. You cannot be scared of getting back on the saddle and continuing to do what it is that you have to do. Um, you will get challenges. You will get like dream manipulation. I think anybody truly being gang stalked, like, everything. You know everything that's happening. So they send you dreams, and it's like, I don't know, I wake up, because I know it's very obviously dream manipulation. Like, it's very obvious. They send It's like, listen, they send faces that I know and recognize. And then I see these people in real life. It's like the world's dumbest criminals. It really is. People come into the dream state with their face. I know who they are. I've seen them before. And they're giving you rotten food to eat, or they're doing all of this weird stuff. And it's like, this is dangerous stuff. Because if you really thought I was a witch, that would be like issue number one. Like, you don't, like, they're not even cloaked. These people are amateurs. I don't know where they find them, but it's embarrassing. And I think the cartel watching should know, you guys have wasted your money on these people. These people are using children and randoms off the street like they're teaching. These are not people who have a spiritual practice, some of them. These are not people who know how to protect themselves spiritually. These are not people who, these are random people. These, to me, feel like random kids that like somebody taught how to do something. Because if you truly feel like somebody is spiritually protected, or you truly feel as though there is something that you're doing that is serious, that is dangerous, you come into someone's dream as yourself and then you show up on the streets the next day. It's dangerous. So these are the kind of things that they do. Now, in my situation, I know better. I know better in my own situation. I know that, like, I know I'm being gang stalked. I know who people are. I know who these players are. Like, you know, it's different for me. However, I feel like in the normal world, where people don't know, where maybe they wouldn't recognize the faces of the gang stalk, like right now. So let me give you a typical example of a psychic attack. So someone comes into my live, and they say something that would be triggering. And then while they, nor triggering to someone else, I guess. And while they say something triggering, then you're sent a psychic attack. And that's meant to elicit some sort of emotional response from you. It's meant for you to have anger or embarrassment or shame or be gaslighted in some way. Not gaslighting is not the right word, but to be triggered in some way. And so literally while the person says what they say, then they send the attack. And then it's supposed to have some sort of like emotional, you're supposed to have some sort of emotional response. That's how they work. This is a classic example of how they work. They set the stage, they set the environment, and then they send the psychic attack. And then it looks like you have an anger issue, or you're the one with a problem, or whatever. It works well if you don't know what's going on, but as soon as you're self-aware, as soon as you, and this is where self-love comes in. As I know myself, I appreciate myself, and it is what it is. However it goes is however it goes. So, you know, a comment like that, regardless of if it's true or not, doesn't, it's you really have to get to a point where you're so comfortable with yourself. You're so comfortable with your circumstances, your beliefs, whatever it is. You really got to get to this point where these kind of things are not affecting you. Safi, it's okay. Don't delete the comments. We need the chat score. It's okay. Leave it. This is why during the gang stalking, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna go down my list because this is like, we're literally, I'm in the beginning of this thing. The more things I looked up and I kind of compared to my experiences being gang stalked, I realized there's some strategy behind these spiritual attacks. They're not just attacking to attack, and it's not like they're sending, well, now they're just sending anything and letting it hit the wall and hoping something sticks because nothing's been working. But it's strategic, it's planned, and it's supposed to have a specific effect. Now, with me being gang stalked, I realized very early on that I had to keep a very high vibration. Now, I started being gang stalked right at a time where I had perfected my vibration. And it kind of upset me. It was kind of like sad in a way, because it was like, it takes a lot to perfect your vibration. It takes a lot to learn how to be in a high vibration. And this is something that in the normal world, they call it, they say it's like when people are love and light, or where they're so love and light, it's like they're just ignoring bad things and you're supposed to address them and whatever. But this is how you manipulate your own energy to your benefit. So this is how, you know, and I talk about the middle path, and I'm going to talk a lot about vibration as I like go through this, and especially willpower. And I talk a lot on this channel about mastering yourself and controlling your vibration. So this was something that happened for me after I opened my heart chakra. So you open your heart chakra, excuse me, you feel unconditional love, which is like love for humanity, which is how it feels, excuse me, to be like loved by the universe, let's say. This is where you're preparing yourself to be worthy to work with and carry extremely high vibrational energies. And once the heart chakra is opened, once you feel all of that, this all happens as a result of being able to control your vibration to the point that you can stay high vibration regardless of your environment. And there's something that happens when you start trying to remain committed to a high vibration, is you get more spiritual and energy attacks than normal. So you're in a situation with the vibration situation where it's almost like before you were trying to be high vibrational or in a good mood or happy all the time, things were not as bad. And then all of a sudden, when you're trying to control your vibration, it's just like it goes overboard. It's like you keep attracting people that keep trying to upset you. You're attracting situations that are and I don't know if that maybe this was a part of like psychologically training me or spiritually training me for the fact that I was going to be gang stalked, but I spent the better part of being gang stalked having to be high vibrational. So I want to say at least a year and a half, and I mean completely ignoring all kinds of chaos. So I would be at my stores, and my stores are in the mall, so we're talking like 9 to 12 hours a day, and sometimes 7 days a week of this, where it would literally be like person after person after person after person would come in the store and say the cruelest things to us, the most ridiculous things to us. It would always be some type of nonsense. And I literally had to work through that and keep going. And really what they wanted to do was they wanted to create scenarios where people would be able to say, this person's very hostile, this person's very rude. And they wanted the ability to leave bad Google reviews and like basically mess the business up this way. And they spent a lot of time doing that stuff. So this is what I mean by you need to not only master your vibration, but master yourself. So I'm going to talk about a lot of that kind of stuff. And really, and this was one point that I wanted to put in here. When you're facing dream manipulation, if it happens a lot, you need to train yourself. And this is not necessarily easy because it's almost like being conscious while you sleep. But you need to train yourself to almost like wake yourself up when this kind of stuff starts happening to you. And it's very, it takes, I'm not sure if it's like, I want to say it takes a while to master, but it's definitely some effort to master, because there's different phases of sleep that you're in. And obviously if you're in a very deep phase of sleep, it's one thing, right? But you need to train yourself to some degree to be able to like pull yourself out of sleep if you're feeling like you're in a dream that's not natural. So things that are not natural for dreams. I've had dreams where it's essentially been like, I've seen like severed baby parts in like a market. I've had dreams where it's been like, a doctor like sleeping with corpses or sleeping with infants, just really like crazy things. And it's definitely something where they kind of look into what would bother you. And I feel like, obviously, like as a mother, seeing anything bad happen to infants is gonna bother you for sure. So it's challenging, but I would just suggest to anyone going through a lot of nightmares and dream manipulation to try to train your body and train yourself to wake up through these situations. Like, don't stay asleep through this nonsense. So where would I go? Okay, so let's talk about the bulk of what I actually do want to talk about. The chakras. Let me go into some information that I pulled up regarding the chakras and psychic attacks, and I'm going to relate them to houses, astrological houses. And I hope that people can follow along as best as they can. So I'm gonna go, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna go through the 7 major chakras, and then I'm gonna correlate them to houses and just kind of talk a little bit about how I feel the attacks come through, and obviously what's the point of it. So starting with the root chakra. The root chakra is the foundation of all energy centers, so it's ensuring it's well balanced and unblocked from negative energies is of utmost importance to your overall physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. The fiery red color that represents it is connected to our fight or flight response. When the root chakra is blocked, you may have difficulty accessing feelings of balance, peace, and security. A blocked or unbalanced root chakra will most likely manifest as a sense of loss and instability. When you feel scared and full of fear, the survival instinct is to shut down the root chakra so you can't feed the other chakras within your body. The location, as I talked on other lives before, is at the base of the spine, and the root chakra provides stability, strength, security, and grounding. A severe blockage may lead to apathy, which is a lack of feeling, anger, pessimism, which is having no hope, always seeing like the glass, half empty, overthinking, and feeling unable to take action. If you're being gang stalked, these are things that you've felt, and these are feelings that you know, and that's just how it is. I'm gonna also this is the one that I need right now. So the houses, the astrological houses that are associated with the root chakra is the house of money, which is basically your second house, and the house of home, which is your fourth house. So the house of money is basically related to your resources, self-confidence or the lack of it, and proving oneself. And then the house of home relates to personal roots, the deep interior self, clan or family, radical commitment, home, and hearth. Obviously, these are things that they attack. So I remember very early in my gang stalking realizing that these people were trying to push me out of business. That was something obviously that was concerning to me, because I was like, what is going on here? When I got a handle on it, it was like, okay, it is what it is. But it was very concerning. They went back home, back to my country to go try to cause issues with my family and turn family against me because they don't want you to have support. So they attack your money, they attack your home, and this is at the base of who you are, because this is your security and this is how you feel, pretty much safe in the world. How they would do that, I mean, everybody, I think it's different. Most people being gang stalked, they're having some sort of issue at work. They're having, issues with people feeling like the entire workplace is against them. I didn't have a job. So for me with my store, it was like just people coming in, complaining, people making up issues, like all kinds of things like that. And I just talked about how they did it with me with family. So, you would go through that. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. And So what it says here about this is, if this chakra is blocked, you may find it hard to feel pleasure. Emotions will be unstable and relationships may not be balanced. A closed sacral chakra can make you feel detached from your own emotions as well as the emotions from people around you. You may try to regain a sense of control by lashing out and exhibiting controlling behaviors towards others. The sacral chakra is associated with creation, emotion, inspiration, imagination, and joy. A blocked sacral chakra may lead to numbness, detachment, anxiety, isolation, and loneliness. So, the astrological house that the sacral chakra is attached to is the house of children and the house of servants. So, the house of children is the fifth house, and this is the house of self expression, play, the need for pleasure, love affairs, courtship, children, creativity, and performance. And the house of servants is the sixth house, and that correlates to duties and skills, mentoring and receiving mentoring, the urge to be competent, helpfulness, and service. So that's the sixth house as it's described. Basically, anything to do with relationships, anything to do with being seen as someone who knows what they're doing or someone who's good at what they're doing, belittling you publicly. I would assume, I don't know if the sixth house would also be the house of reputation. I am assuming, I don't have it here, but wait, I can tell you. No, the sixth house has to do with like work, health, service. It's not the house of reputation, but there is a house of reputation somewhere. But it's not this one. When I get to it, I'll know. But anyway, this is the sacral chakra, and obviously they attack it. I think the sacral chakra has to do obviously with like you producing, with business, with creativity, and that sort of thing. So obviously when people, if we go back to the kind of emotions that it's attached to, that's where the anxiety attacks come from. That's where like attacking your relationships, either you not wanting to go around people because you're so scared that everybody's sabotaging you, or you feeling isolated, you feeling lonely, you feeling like no one wants to be around you. So connect it as you will. The third chakra is the solar plexus, and a blocked and unbalanced solar plexus chakra is probably the harshest imbalance you can have relating to anxiety. In relationships, an unbalanced solar plexus may lead to jealousy and possessiveness. It becomes harder to stay open to feedback. You may become reactive, harsh, and feel overly defensive or confrontational. By the way, to put a pin in it, I think that the person attacking me now has none of their chakras aligned at all, because it's all describing behaviors and symptoms that they have, like the lashing out, the not being able to connect with people, being numb, etc. That's all it looks like. The solar plexus chakra involves power, confidence, and feeling unstoppable. An imbalanced solar plexus may lead to low self-esteem, self-doubt, paralysis from fear, no sense of direction, and a sense of failure. And I talked about in other lives that I've done about how really what they want to take from you is your hope. They want to take away your hope, any money to start. It's like they want to take away all your aces. So they want to take away your hope. They want to take your ambition and your ability to bring about action from motivation that you have. They definitely want to take away your motivation, and they want to take away any investment that you have, any investment money or anything that you can, how do I put it, that you can use to propel yourself in a new beginning. They come to stop your life, to put an end to everything you have going on, and to then stop you from having new beginnings, to starting over, to doing things over. So the solar plexus, the houses that that's associated with are the house of personalities, so that would be your first house, and your house of career, which here says it is the 10th house. So the first house and the 10th house in astrology. So the first house, house of personality, that's your personal style. I believe that's the house of your public image, if not reputation. But anyway, personal style, social persona, choices, taking a stand, the stained glass through which the light of the psyche shines, and self-actualization. So that's your solar plexus, and that makes sense that it would be aligned with the first house. And then there's also the house of career, which would be your 10th house, and that's to do with your profession, your reputation, one's mission in life, the hat that we wear, the need to leave a mark on the world. So it makes sense that, as this says, that it's one of the harshest sort of chakras to be attacked, because obviously this is what they want you to have an issue with. They want to take away your job. They want the way people view you to be skewed. They lie about you. They want you to be misguided about who you are and where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to have. They want you to not be able to self-actualize. They want you to not be able to move forward, to have a new beginning, etc., etc. So that is the third chakra. The chakra that everybody's obsessed with, the heart chakra, is all about love, both the ability to give and receive unconditional love for yourself and to others. The heart chakra is not necessarily like falling in love with people or loving your kids or loving your pets or loving people who love you back. The heart chakra is literally about, how would I put it? It's unconditional. It's like universal love. Excuse me. So if your heart chakra is unbalanced, you may feel unworthy of love or kindness, which can spiral into a disbelief that you could ever have a happy relationship. This may lead to anxiety around self-worth and a sense of defensiveness towards criticism and personal attacks. If you've been struggling to feel connected to the world around you, then you may be experiencing a blockage in the heart chakra. Jealousy, self-doubt, and codependency are classic signs. It may also lead to a sense of detachment and a fear of showing your true self. The heart chakra deals with unconditional love, connection, ability to give and receive love, self-acceptance, and healthy boundaries. A blocked heart chakra may involve feelings of unworthiness, relationship struggles, fear of rejection, difficulty accepting yourself, codependency, and jealousy. The heart chakra is associated to the house of home, which is the 4th house, the house of marriage, which is the 7th house, and I bet you it's the 11th house, and the house of friends, which is the 11th house. So the house of home has to do with personal roots, the deep interior self, clan or family, radical commitment, and home and hearth, which we went through before, which is also associated with the root chakra, is the house of home. The house of marriage, the 7th house, has to do with intimacy, commitment, empathy, relationships based on equality, which means healthy relationships, negotiation, and compromise. So marriage doesn't necessarily have to do with like a partner. It could be like business marriage, contracts, and things of that nature. And then the 11th house is the house of friends. So it's goals, strategies, development over time, allies, tribal experience, teamwork, networking, and I want to say an overall feeling of belonging. And obviously we know that they attack that. And when they attack all these relationships in that way, you definitely feel like you're scared to approach people. It's like a trauma. They really want you to hold trauma in your heart where you can't connect to people. And that's why they strategically do the things that they do. They want you to feel bad about yourself. They want to have access to you to feel bad about yourself, to criticize things about you, to nitpick, and you're supposed to have like bad self-esteem and all that kind of stuff. Like, you gotta really, really, really love yourself. And this is why self-love and radical self-acceptance is so important, because You do not want people to have an avenue to come in and say things to you or about you that make you either question yourself or question your worth, when the people saying it could care less, but they're doing it for a specific purpose. It's meant to permanently emotionally damage you. Then you have the throat chakra. The throat chakra is primarily linked to self-expression and communication. It governs the mouth, tongue, and throat, and all lower chakra imbalances must be in order before you begin working on it. A blocked throat chakra can make you unable to express yourself. The stress of this repression can cause anxiety and insecurity. And the person who's being quoted here believes that this can lead to social anxiety over time. You can feel afraid to speak your truth, or you do not believe you're in a safe space to speak openly, which can escalate your sense of worry. This can lead to a sense of pressure and fear around saying the wrong thing. You are attacked so badly, you're criticized so much that you feel like there's groups of people are always going to be against you, or people are always going to embarrass you. And worst of all, when the throat chakra is affected, you have difficulty going to the police, speaking in front of a crowd, speaking up for yourself, getting justice for yourself. They put you in a state of fear. And you cannot hope to get justice from gang stalking if you're scared to go to the police, scared to make reports, scared to do any of the above. You have to be strong, determined, and ready to speak up for yourself. And this is why they attack that. The throat chakra involves self-expression, communication, sharing, and obviously mouth, tongue, and throat. An imbalanced throat chakra may lead to inability to express thoughts and feelings, fear of speaking, avoiding difficult conversations, social anxiety, and avoidance. The throat chakra is connected to your house of communication, which would be your third house. And that's a house involving information exchange, learning, language, shock, the unexpected, improvisation, and reaction. And I definitely feel like because shock is here, that has something to do with betrayals as well. And then it also has to do with your house of journeys, which has to do with education, travel, belief systems, values, culture shock, religion, and life as a quest. Life as a quest means being able to enjoy going out into the world, learning, meeting new people, experiencing new cultures, etc., etc. So it's like it makes you close in on yourself. It makes you recoil. It makes you not go out there and be able to expand. So this is what they're trying to knock out of you, and this is diabolical. To do that to someone is it's all diabolical, but to restrict a person in such a way where they are scared of the world. And you can see that in people who are gang stalked go outside and they're constantly like looking over their shoulders. They're constantly like nervous. They think people are after them. That is what they do, and that's how they affect you. The sixth chakra is the third eye chakra. And this can be a major source of anxiety when out of balance. This is because it becomes difficult to see things as they are as your perception and awareness become more limited. This is where they create illusions around you. As your inner eye closes, your ability to perceive the big picture diminishes. This circle of ruminating thoughts could cause you to be plagued by fear, self-doubt, and anxiety. Ruminating thoughts is like thoughts that you keep playing back in your head all the time. The third eye represents imagination, intuition, spiritual clarity, spiritual connection. And a blocked third eye may lead to insecurity, indecision, inability to understand, overthinking, and worrying. Give me 1 second. The third eye is, again, it correlates to the astrological house of home, which is the fourth house. And again, I'll read it. Personal roots, the deep interior self, clan or family, radical commitment, home and hearth. So the fourth house, and also the house of troubles, which is your 12th house, which people call the house of hidden enemies. So release, spirituality, psychic experiences, withdrawal and isolation, and necessary losses. You know, for me, it's like, it's not hard to see. They basically want to block your intuition, block your ability to discern what is real from what is fake. Am I really being gang stalked, or is this person just walking down the street and minding their business? Do I have an actual issue here? Can I actually leave? Do I actually have free will? And I feel like when your third eye is blocked, it's not just anxiety, but I feel like that's the type of thing that leads to mental instability. That's where you are losing your mind, and it feels like you're drowning inside your own body. No one is going to believe you. No one is coming to help. And you're just in this reality where you're seeing all this stuff around you, but people keep saying like, you're crazy, nothing's happening, you're fine, etc., etc. So take that as it is. And then the last chakra is the crown chakra. And this chakra allows you to see the full picture, to understand that every single hardship is for a reason and supports our surrendering to divine energy. When the chakra is in balance, you can live life with absolute trust that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. And I talk to people going through gang stalking about this all the time. It is supposed to happen. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. It feels difficult. It feels scary. It feels like you're underwater. And I totally get it, because I was there. It's difficult to accept that you have to go through this. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that, you know, when I'm done all this. You can process all scenarios with less drama-driven emotion, and your faith is unbreakable. You can process all scenarios with less drama-driven emotion, not overreacting and not letting things be blown out of proportion more than they need to be, just accepting everything, not overreacting to every little thing that happens. Oh my God, everybody's wearing red on the street. Oh my God, that person's following me. Oh my, toning it down, having a level head and deciding what is an emergency and what is not. And because I'm on this, I'll tell you, you need to divide things. When things come at you, things do not need immediate response. You get a piece of mail a piece of mail and you're like, oh, what is this? And you're having a bit of anxiety about it. You do not need to open it at night. You can open it up in the morning in business hours when you can actually deal with it, or when you are prepared to deal with it. You know, and you need to separate. What I did was I separated events looking at, is this important? Is this urgent? Is this urgent and important, etc., etc., and just kind of like itemizing, like, what do I need to do and what do I need to do now? And your faith is unbreakable. On the other hand, blockages may lead you to perceive every problem as a personal attack. You may have a sense that bad things always happen to you. This can lead to fear and anxiety. The crown chakra is associated with seeing the bigger picture, understanding, awakening, trust, and oneness. Blockages may lead to taking things personally, expressing negativity or a victim mentality, lack of spiritual connection, and short-sightedness. The crown chakra is associated to your house of death, which is the 8th house. By the way, the astrological houses, they go all the way from your rising sign, which is the 1st house, all the way to your 12th house. So the 8th house is represented by Scorpio. And the house of death has to do with instincts, sexual bonding, wounds, death, occult experience. And I'm going to go ahead and replace death with transformation, because that's all it is. Once a situation dies or ceases to exist, it allows space for something else to grow, or for there to be a transformation of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and say instinct, sexual bonding, wounds, transformation, occult experience, everything psychologically charged or taboo. And then it also deals with your 12th house, which is the house of hidden enemies, which has to do with release, spirituality, psychic experiences, withdrawal and isolation, and necessary losses. I personally feel like it is impossible to go through gang stalking without us having some sort of spiritual awakening. And I think the whole point of gang stalking is a spiritual awakening. I think what happens is without proper guidance, people go through this very traumatic experience and they don't have the spiritual awakening that a traumatic experience is supposed to bring. So let me explain this in another way. If you were, a lot of times when somebody has something very traumatic happens to them, so say for example you went into like the Alps and you got stuck there for like 3 months and you had very little food, etc., etc., that is supposed to wake you up spiritually in some way, shape, or form, because you're supposed to have some sort of like, it's like, what is going to keep you going? Usually for most people it would be some sort of spiritual experience, like God was there with me, or I saw that angels were with me, or you know, a passed over loved one came to visit me, etc., etc. This is what people usually say. But when you're going through gang stalking, it's almost like they deliberately do not want you to have that spiritual awakening that you're supposed to have. And I feel like that's what people like myself come here to talk about, is you got to go through your spiritual awakening. You have to get to the point where you realize that you're not alone. You're never alone. And I talk about this a lot. People going through gang stalking know that there's something spiritual occurring. They know that, you know, call it energy, I call it spell work, whatever it is, there are things that are happening that are out of the realm of normal. And you're at a point where you're so isolated, you have to go through it alone. And spiritual awakenings, they happen alone. And the other thing is you're transforming into a totally new person. So you going through gang stalking, you can't do this with anybody else. And you're supposed to lose everybody from your past. And that's the unfortunate advice that I have. You're supposed to lose everybody that you're letting go of. And it's a very traumatic, because you have bonds and attachments to these people, but it's the truth. You have to let go of these ties in order to ascend. Perhaps they're holding you back for whatever reason. And half the time it's like, if people were willing to betray you, you don't want these relationships. You have to let it go. You literally have to let it go. So I'm going to try to maybe do some sort of chart that will talk about what the chakras are and what astrological houses they correlate to. But I just did this today and I didn't have enough time to really like sit down and think about like how they specifically attack each one. But I know this is a topic that, if not at least once, I'm gonna have to continue revisiting until I kind of nail down what it is that I feel like I have to say, because I'm still feeling empty from the way that I'm giving this out. But this isn't even uncommon, because I have a lot of messages that I've given out, and it's kind of taken me 2-3 times of talking about the same thing for me to really nail down what it is I feel like I have to say. Let's talk about the forms of psychic attack that you face during gang stalking and how to know that you're being psychically attacked. So first of all, on a 3D level, it looks like bullying, gossip, jealousy or envy, raging or anger against you, mental rehearsals of doom and gloom in your head, and legal arguments. So these are examples on the 3D of psychic attacks, because these sort of actions, I guess, against you, or even you against yourself, these sort of actions, pretty much, it's like, it's not like something where it happens and you go home and you forget about it. It's the psychological trauma that's associated with it, and then how that impacts you moving forward. Like, if you were normally able to just get up and do something, well, how is it affected by feeling like people are against you, or feeling like there are people that are envious, like, you know, towards you, or etc. And that's really what it comes down to. Other forms of psychic attacks: nightmares, which I just discussed, headaches or shooting pains, feeling energetically drained is a huge one. People draining your energy. People will use your energy and it like gives them a boost to either go out and work harder and pull things into their energy, you know, buy new houses, get new cars, do new things, etc., etc. They can transfer your energy to other people, etc., 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 etc. All right. If you feel drained around people or you feel drained after sex with people, get rid of them and call your energy back and pray about that situation like profusely. Fears or anxiety being projected, that meaning that you're having feelings of fears, you're having anxiety, but it's not connected to anything that you've done or any logical situation in your life. You're just feeling fear out of nowhere. You're feeling anxiety out of nowhere. I'm gonna go ahead and say also rage. Any negative emotion that you feel like you're being projected that is not your feeling, that's a psychic attack. Bad luck, where you normally would have amazing luck and all of a sudden your luck is gone and everything that you try to do doesn't work, that's a psychic attack. Dying plants and animals, you're definitely under spell work. You're under psychic attacks. Your plants should be able to live. All right. Other signs of psychic attacks are persistent anxiety. You think that the anxiety is just coming from the gang stalking, but the gang stalking is a catalyst or an excuse for the anxiety that you're being projected. I repeat, there is still signs of me being gang stalked right now and I feel nothing. I've said it before. The gang stalking only works with the anxiety being projected. I need to like plaster that on my page in the banner. I'm gonna do that, because I feel like everybody that comes to my page needs to know that. The anxiety only works with the gang stalking. Or sorry, the gang stalking only works with the anxiety. If there is no anxiety being projected towards you, it just looks like people following you, or it just looks like people being weird. This happens all the time. I see gang stalkers all around me. They're all over. I feel nothing. It doesn't even, I don't know how to explain it. It's just people, and you know that they're watching you and you know what they're there for, but I don't know, you just literally feel nothing. You feel nothing. These are not people who can do anything to you. These are people who obviously have very low scruples, but or it's like me driving on the road and people like bumper riding. It's not, I'm not gonna say I'm having a great time, but it's like, it's not like giving me anxiety or fear either. So just consider that. These two things are separate. The gang stalking and the anxiety that you get when you are being gang stalked is different. They flood you with anxiety first, then they gang stalk you, then you feel like your life is falling apart. This is where the spiritual practice is essential. Cleaning out your home, cleaning your energy, cleaning your body, having a good spiritual routine clears your system out. Anxiety attacks don't even hit you. I'm going to talk a little bit about this a little after. So persistent anxiety means like round the clock anxiety. So when people are being gang stalked, you notice that their breath is like, it's not good. Like if you call them on the phone, they'd be like, you could tell. If you see them, you can tell they're going through something. Paranoid thoughts. We all went through that or are going through that if you're still being gang stalked. Sick, or I already have sick or dying plants or animals. Feeling haunted or watched, that is a psychic attack. Feeling haunted or feeling watched all the time is a psychic attack. Brain fog and forgetfulness. Blocked creativity and progress. Thoughts, visions, or intuitive messages from the attacker. They project thoughts to you. Some people call it V2K, whatever you want to call it. Sudden unhealthy obsessions and self-destructive habits or behavior. The lustfulness. Rage. These are all psychic attacks. That's all spell work. Increased emotional reactivity and sensitivity, meaning exploding for no reason. So earlier I was watching a tarot reading, obviously about things that you could be upset about. And this used to happen to me a lot during gang stalking. And of course I had to learn all of this stuff. So every time I would listen to something that would provoke or irritate a normal person, that's when I would be projected rage. And these days, when I feel rage attacks, I just breathe it out, like 5 breaths even. It's not hard, but I've been practicing that. So when you feel the anxiety come out of nowhere, breathe it out. You have to visualize in your body breathing it out. Like you have to visualize like the anxiety in your body as an energy and pushing it out, and then saging your environment. You know, I don't know if anybody here has ever smoked weed before, but sage is like weed, but for the environment. It mellows you out. It's the same thing. So sage. And let me tell you, this water that I talked about with the air bubbles, since I've been saging, dramatically, like the air bubbles have gone down. That's what happens. It just naturally clears out your environment. And the last is depression and suicidal thoughts, and that's really where it's gone off the rails. That's psychic attacks off of the rails when you're feeling depressed and you're feeling suicidal. So you really have to address these things early, sooner rather than later, very early on in your gang stalking experience. You have to go ahead and address all of these things that are happening, because you can't control people following you. You can't control being hacked. You can't control all of that, but you have to control your experience. You have to be able to take a grip over your life. And this is all a part of the illusions. You have to take control of the psychic attacks that are coming your way. So, excuse me, how to stop psychic attacks. First and foremost, spiritual baths that I've talked about. And for people who are not super spiritual, hopefully you do go on your spiritual journey, but it's simply a salt bath. It's simply like a sauna. It's like that. You take a salt bath if that's all you want to do. I mean, there's herbs and there's other things that you can do. I don't want to go too deep into that right now, but you know, take you a little salt bath in some Epsom salt. That's really going to help. That's going to address any sort of bodily attacks. So anything that they've sent for sickness or anything like that, you just want to stay in the bathtub for an hour or two. That's it. Sage that I continue to talk about, you get a white sage bundle and you clear out your space. This is what my white sage looks like. In case you don't know, sage is spelled S-A-G-E. You can Google it. You can find it everywhere on the internet. So sage. Sage burns negative energy or low vibrational, dark energy in your environment. It just burns it up. And you want to make sure you have like a window or a door open so that energy can just make its way out of your, your environment. Meditation obviously calms your nervous system. It has to do with deep breathing, and it also has to do with like releasing and regenerating and replenishing your body with positive energy. And you have to just start a cycle in life, not just with gang stalking, but forever, where you're just meditating and balancing yourself. Visualization. This is how people send you psychic attacks in the first place. So visualization is just visualizing, a bubble of protection around you, cleansing your space, taking care of yourself. You can send that energy, positive energy, to people that you love, etc. So visualization is a big one. Crystals to block energy, to pull energy out of your body, to release energy. Crystals, because they're workhorses. It takes effort to do everything else, and crystals are just something that take care of themselves. Like, you don't know how many spiritual attacks you're being sent when you have good crystals and the correct crystals for the job. You just don't know. Somebody could literally be tiring themselves out. And I feel like that's why a lot of people were drained because they weren't seeing the results of the kind of attacks they were sending to me, because I was like loaded up with crystals. By the way, everybody in the chat, if you can please like the video, it would really help our algorithm and will help the page kind of move up on the algorithm. I would really, really appreciate it. And my favorite way of stopping psychic attacks is prayer. It works. When people feel, gang stalkers, if they can send you voice to skull, when you're praying, they can hear it. They know. They know. And listen, and I was thinking about this earlier. This is my way of fighting back. There's always this sense as if it's like people who do witchcraft or people who do these kind of things, it's like they look down on people who pray, like prayer is not real. Prayer is 100% real. And that's the thing. I'm not talking about prayer where it's like you pray maybe Monday and maybe Saturday you pray again. I'm talking about real people who are serious. They love God. They want to have a relationship with God. They're very serious about it. They take it seriously. They read their, if it's your Bible, your Quran, whatever it is. And this is the thing. We get too hung up about who a person is praying to. As long as a person has a good heart, a clear conscience, is not looking to incur more karma, is not doing evil, who they pray to is their business. If it's Buddha, if it's what's the Muslim, Allah, if it's whoever, it's, I used to come on here, and I still do, because I'm not Christian, and I'd say whoever you're praying to, because I realize that Spirit, the Holy Spirit, is not even too concerned about what name anybody calls him or her. It's just about your heart. It's about your energy. It's about your intention. And putting that energy out there consistently and pushing out that energy and saying, this is the help that I need. This is what I'm going through. I would like to stop this. Because to me, it's the same thing when they're sending you these, they're chanting on you and they're sending you this negative psychic attacks. They're doing that energetically. So what is different with praying than what they're doing? They're doing symbolic things like lighting candles and doing all of this stuff. What difference is it? You're putting out a prayer, they're putting out chants. It's the same thing. But in my mind, it is one of my favorite ways, because not only do you get to connect to God, but you get to see miracles at play. You get to give God an opportunity to say, I am here. Look what I'm doing in your life. Look how I'm changing your life. So I have here, just to repeat them, spiritual baths, sage, meditation, visualization, crystals, and prayer. I want to add one last thing to all of this as well. Let me see if I have any more notes that I want to share. Willpower. We do not give enough credit to our willpower as we should. Somebody out there is praying that you don't go to work tomorrow. And somebody out there is triangulating people at your work, getting people to go against you, getting people to ridicule you, getting people to abuse you on your job. And they're doing all of that to break your willpower. And even if you don't believe in anything else that I just said, having the ability to get up anyway and say, I'm gonna go to work because I want to go to work. And going to work, being productive, being happy regardless, that no one can take away from you. No one can take away your willpower. So I would even add willpower as one of the ways to fight psychic attacks. With your willpower being strong enough, and that was one of the key things that I used before I had all the answers, before I was consistent with the crystals, before I was consistent with the prayers. Well, I was always consistent with prayers and meditation. Let me not lie to you. I was always consistent with that. But before I knew about I was taking spiritual baths and didn't know they were spiritual baths. I just did it to relax myself. Before I knew everything in such a formal way, before I had my altar and it was burning and running properly, before all of that, it was willpower. It was because I didn't want to let go of my life. It was because I'd worked too hard for my life and I wasn't about to let anybody take it away from me. So I'm suggesting to you, as you're going through this journey, do not discount your willpower. Do not discount your ability to just say, I'm not taking a fall. I command it. I am going to survive this. I'm going to come out of this. This is not going to happen forever. I've been saying this from day one, and it's taken me 2 years to get to where I am right now. To get to a place, I'm not going to say I'm fully healed. I'm constantly still being, listen, a lot of the same things are still happening. They're just not having the effect that these people want. These people are still trying to follow me around. They still have the ability to hack my devices. All of this stuff still exists. The difference is I've taken my power back completely. And that's all I can offer anyone in the way of advice. You're living your life and no one's coming into your house and putting a gun to your head and saying, you must do this, that, or the third. They're manipulate you into these behaviors. You have to take your life back. You have to take control of yourself and say, this is what I want to do. And this is what I have to do. And as soon as you know what, it just takes a bit of practice. It's just time. In the beginning, when you first start saging and you first start meditating and you first start doing all of this stuff, it feels a little bit foreign and it's incremental, little by little by little. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, and they couldn't get your heart rate to spike no matter what they did. Because first of all, you're kind of used to it and you know that it's happening. But secondly, you've remained so committed to making sure that you're not finding yourself continually on this cycle of drama, continuously on this cycle of reacting. In the beginning, on every new attack, it does work. Whether it's me, whether it's anybody else, like it works because it's something foreign to you. You don't have an antidote. You don't have a way of dealing with it. You don't even know what's happening. But after a while, the first, the second, the third time, you're like, wait a minute, why did I get mad out of nowhere? Everything was beautiful today. Or why am I all of a sudden having a bad day? Or why am I letting these petty things, affect me or whatever? And so it's not that the things that people have done to hurt you or to disrespect you, it's not like it's not still hurtful or disrespectful. It's just that you're not allowing it to control your vibration. And it's your vibration that they're trying to affect. Listen, me coming on here tonight, I get gang stalkers in I turned off the chats for a bit, and it's like me turning off the chats is like kind of what they want you to do. It's like there's gang stalkers in there, but there's also real targeted individuals as well. So it's like you just get to a point where you start realizing like you need to get back to your life. This is the point that I'm at. I'm more than getting back to my life. At some point you got to take it back. Somebody is always going to have something that they're going to say. What these people are doing, it's incredibly illegal, but unfortunately they steal too many years from you if you let it affect you. And that's really all this is all about. I might have to make like a couple different slides to go over everything that I talked about, because this was such a crucial live to talk about. Was just, I got to be careful how I say this because I am a TI or was a TI or what, I don't even know how to say it, but you come so far to realize that the way the psychic attacks work against you, that there is a portion of it where you're almost like gang stalking yourself and you have to take control of it. And that's what they want. And they see you dwindle. And there was a point very early on where I saw it, where it's like, I could tell they pulled back a bit, but I still just had anxiety. And it's like I had to get that under control. And I've come so far for me to be able to see that I had to get me under control, that I had to master myself. I have to master my own breathing. I have to master, you know, my own triggers. I have to take control of myself emotionally. I have to do that work. So as far as I've come, and I'm sure there's more to go, but there's such a sense of calm. And like I say, people still follow me. Like, listen, I go to the store and I could tell the people that are obviously trying to be like intimidating and that are being weird for no reason. So it's like, but what am I gonna do? I still need to grocery shop. I still need to like purchase things. I still need to do things with my life. I'm not gonna like run around like I'm being chased all over the place. They're not gonna do anything. And they haven't done anything in 2 years. They haven't done anything. They've just illegally harassed you and done too much. So to think that all of us are gonna have like justice where the police are gonna get involved or whatever, when unlikely. I think the most we can do is ease the pain, recognize the things that are happening, find antidotes to them, and just kind of like do better and just live our life and like watch these immoral, corrupt people around us and just like, you know, go about your day. There isn't much that you can do. To end this video, I noticed there's a couple people in here, guys. If you could like the live, that would very much help the channel grow. And if you enjoy the information, please share it so other people who subscribe to your channels as well can see it. I'm gonna pull a spirit messages card, and these are messages from spirit. I love these cards because of all my oracle cards, these cards are the most vocal, but these are very positive messages, and I feel like the messages that come out from them, from the time I got these cards, because I only used to do these cards for myself, and then I ended up like deciding I'd pull like a couple cards on, you know, when I come on, and I feel like the cards constantly just speak to like whatever it is that I'm talking about on live anyway, so I do appreciate them. So this one says, accept where you are at this moment in time. Only then can you begin to move forward. Be clear about your intentions. This makes it easier for us and the universe to help you. Doors will open unexpectedly. Be ready. To that point, my gang stalking did not ease until I just said, I was so tired of being like, God, when is it gonna get better? It eased when I was just like, I don't care, F it. It is what it is. This is how I live now. Not until I accepted that this is like my life and how it's going, did things just automatically ease up. And I feel like it's like that a lot of times in life. I feel like it's like that a lot. So, you know, you're here for a reason. I know it sucks to hear. I would not want to hear it either. But you got to learn from where you're at, and you got to master yourself. And I feel like only beautiful things come after this kind of trauma. Only beautiful things. I feel like you step into your true life's purpose, because you're probably going to think, you know, let's say it's to be famous, let's say it's to be a superstar or whatever, and you're thinking you have no talent. Well, maybe God just gives you a story and then you get to be a star. Like, what the universe wants from you is gonna happen, and you don't know how, and who are we to question it? But go through your journey, go through your purpose, and just learn. There's another one here that I just feel like I should read. It's at the bottom of the deck. It says, please don't place limits upon yourself. You are an infinite being with unlimited potential. You can have and be anything you want. Don't hold yourself back or allow anyone else to. This is your life. Live your truth and remain heart-centered at all times. God definitely does not want you to feel like gang stalkers can control what is going on with you. I never let them think that. Maybe they thought that, but I always knew better. You're going to have exactly what it is that you want. You have to hold your dreams tight to your chest, no matter what it is that you're praying for, and no matter how long it's taking to come. What is yours at the end of the day, and I promise you that. This is my crystal deck. I'm gonna, maybe we'll read that one because I showed you guys that one. I'm gonna pull a crystal of the day, and we will see what this is about. I want to be very, very Listen, if I had to give like one, and I should probably do a live about like how I got through gang stalking, as far as like what kept me, what brought me to where I am today. I'll be honest with you. First of all, obviously, like a belief in God. That goes without saying, but hanging in there, just never losing hope. I never lost hope, and I was gang stalked to be a drug mule, and I just always had this feeling in my heart that I would never do it. It's not the life for me. I can't see myself living that way. Just never giving up, never not enduring, no matter how hard things were. There were definitely a lot of nights where I went to bed and I'm like, this is ridiculous. To be honest with you, up until at least 2 or 3 months ago, I woke up and I'm like, I can't even believe gang stalking is real. I'll be honest. 2 years in, I'd still wake up and I'd be like, I cannot believe that this is real. And you can't tell me that you guys don't have that feeling as well, where you don't wake up sometimes and you're like, wait a minute, like, is this actually happening? Not because you're in disbelief that it's happening, but like, people actually do this. That's how I felt for a very, very, very long time. I just never gave up. And then I also never gave up on thinking that it would one day be over. I never lost hope that it would be over. And I just feel like if you continue to hold on to that hope, and if you continue to like just hang in there, pray about the same things over and over, it's okay. Just like keep going and don't stop. And you know, there's this saying, it's like, if you're going through hell, that's not where you want to stop. You want to keep moving. So had I lost hope, I definitely feel like I'm having a fresh start in my life. I definitely feel like it's a new beginning. I am a new version of myself. I'm basically like this more advanced version of myself, but old parts of myself that I lost have come back as well. So parts of me where I used to take care of myself, parts of me where I used to get my makeup done. I used to like, listen, I haven't been in heels in years. Okay? Like, and I know we can all relate to that. You know, you're being gang stalked and you're not going to want to go to dinner, and you're not going to want to be in public, and you're not going to want to do all of these things. These are the parts of you that come back. And then the part of you that reawakens is this like extremely fearless person, this person who speaks up for themselves, this person with very strong boundaries. If you're a person with weak boundaries, or I don't want to say introvert, because being introverted has nothing to do with boundaries, but if you're more of a quiet person who likes to avoid conflict, and then I'm going to speak for myself. When I used to avoid conflict at all costs, I used to look at people with very strong boundaries who are able to say no without thinking about people's feelings and be like, oh my God, I want to be that. I wish I could be like that. If I tried to be like that, I would feel guilty. Gang stalking has taken me to a place where I'm like, if you let them slip, they're going to go figure skating. They're not just going to slide, they're going to go figure skating, and I can't have that. So gang stalking has taught me, and this is another thing that people need to take into consideration, that don't let anyone take advantage of you for any reason whatsoever. Ever, for any reason whatsoever. So that's the part of you that becomes different. You don't put up with anything from anyone. You speak up for yourself. You don't let things stop you. You know how to differentiate what's yours and what's not yours. You become strong spiritually. You feel like you can walk through any challenge. You're fearless. You don't mind a bit of danger. Things that would scare other people doesn't scare you, etc. So I think I feel like, is it really that you've developed into a new person, or have you just basically like burst into parts of yourself that was always there? There's this quote that basically says like, and I keep forgetting it every time, but it was like, the mission in life that we're on is basically to like become that which we always were, something to that degree. But that's what I think. I think that there were parts of me that were already there anyway. Like I already had that like no nonsense part of me anyway. And I just basically came to the point of I'm not putting up with anybody's crap anymore. And I mean ever again. So I'm wishing that for everybody going through this situation. I know it's tough. I know it's difficult. This is not a channel of doom and gloom. This is a channel where I tell people you're going to be amazing after. Not you're going to be fine. You're going to be amazing. You're going to be a superhuman version of yourself. So hang in there, learn your lessons. God knows when you've had enough and you'll be pulled out of the fire. Anyway, these are the two crystals that came out. The first one is Smoky Quartz. Smoky Quartz comes out all the time. And I'm not going to question it because it's one of my favorite crystals. I have a geode. A geode is the ones that have like all these little formations here. Sorry, the light is kind of... It has like all these little formations where it literally looks like you cracked it off the wall of a cave. I love it. It's perfect for psychic attacks. I don't care what this card says. If you're having the shooting pains, the headaches, the whatever, the anxiety, you just put it right here, lay down, do your meditation. It is beautiful. The amazing part of this, oh, I don't have all my crystals here to show you. The amazing part of when the crystals are raw, I prefer raw crystals to polished crystals because as it takes on psychic attacks, it just breaks apart. So because it's a salt-based, once it's a geode, it's salt-based. And if it's salt-based, salt is a very pure or purifying mineral. And that means that it'll keep away like negative energies or keep energy. It's very strong. It's a very cleansing thing. So you'll just see like pieces of your of your crystal break. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's parts of this that are super smooth. And then there's parts of it that are very like pointy. And these smooth parts, it wasn't always like this. The entire thing was like this when I got it. But this part here, the smoothness happened because I've had it for a while. And it's taken a beating. Let me tell you, this has taken a beating. It has been there with me for more than a year. So Smoky Quartz. And fun fact about this one, I got this from one of my staff and she's like, I had no idea about crystals until I met you and you liked them, and she gave it to me for Christmas and I fell in love with it and it has come in handy for forever. So Smoky Quartz is the crystal of grounding and anchoring. It is the ultimate detoxifier and the vibration is earthy and high. Smoky Quartz is one of the most effective stones for grounding. Strongly protective and detoxifying, it can reverse the effects of electromagnetic pollution and negative energies generally. I'm telling you, I'll get a psychic attack and I'll feel shooting pain. And I put this, instantly it's gone. And if I take it off, the shooting pain will start again. Put it back, it's gone. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Get Smoky Quartz if you're being gang stalked. I'm not joking. Not just a big crystal like this that's amazing for like big attacks, but also like a bracelet, a crystal bracelet, and you're gonna put it on your right hand. Smoky Quartz is a highly versatile healer. It is particularly effective for ailments of the abdomen, hips, and legs. It provides pain relief and dissolves cramps. Traditionally, it strengthens the back and fortifies the nerves. It also works on the kidneys and other organs of elimination to remove toxins from the body. In the mind, it stabilizes emotions, overcomes fear and lack of trust, and lifts depression. In the spirit, it facilitates connection to the astral plane, assists in clearing the mind for meditation. I meditate with this stone. There's definitely a difference with meditating with it and meditating without it. Maybe I might do a live talking about crystals that you want to use for meditation because you get a lot of psychic attacks. The other thing that came to my mind to talk about, when we have cramps or we're sent anxiety so bad that you need to use the washroom and it feels like a violent anxiety attack, like you're getting a diarrhea attack, selenite. Selenite will stop it immediately. Immediately. So, for women, if you're having cramps, selenite, okay? Selenite is fairly cheap, again, salt-based. And just to show you, I don't know if you guys can see, but no, you kind of can't see. Oh, I don't know how to work this for you to see in the light. But anyway, selenite is salt-based, just like the Smoky quartz, and it breaks off. Pieces of it, maybe you kind of can see now. Pieces of it will break off as you use it. So it never looked like this when I got it. So eventually, and I don't know how long, but over time, this thing is probably gonna whittle down and break down into nothing as it just puts up with so much spiritual attacks with me. But I am very serious about my stones, and if I'm gonna be in a very negative environment, it will come with me. I travel with my stones. I'm very serious about it, and it just continues breaking off. Like even right now, it's broken off all over me, so I don't know what it's protecting me from. The second one is Celestite. I don't know if you can see. It's like a baby blue. It's a baby blue stone. It's called Celestite. And it is the crystal for reintegrating the soul. Oh, that's fine. And it's good for inner peace, and the vibration is high. It's strongly connected to the angelic realm. Celestite is a higher dimension teacher that will kickstart your spiritual enlightenment. It assists angelic communication and remembers the divine nature of your soul. Let me read that again. It assists angelic communication and remembers the divine nature of your soul. Connecting to your guardian angel, this crystal stimulates clairvoyance and promotes dream recall and out-of-body journeys. It also strengthens intuition and assists channeling. Celestite supports your spiritual development at the highest level. It teaches trust in the infinite wisdom of the universe, facilitates conflict resolution, and instills balance in times of stress. How can you not want this? Like, a lot of these crystals sound like, a lot of the times when I read about crystals, I feel like they're just like made for being gang stalked. The fact that it teaches trust in the infinite wisdom of the universe, facilitates conflict resolution, and instills balance in times of stress. Guys, sorry about my cat. I don't know what he's going through, poor boy. Anyway, on the body, it deals with eyes, ears, throat, muscular, and elimination systems. And in the mind, it calms emotions, sharpens the mind, and brings clarity. This is one of those stones that I've been like interested in getting, and I don't know for what reason I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm definitely gonna get it. There are just particular crystals that I want to get like a big one of, and I feel like this is one of them. Big crystals are very expensive. They are very expensive. One little tip that I want to give: if you are a TI and people are tampering with your mail, or you suspect that people are tampering with your mail or your packages, my packages, I used to have no doubt that they were opened. People looked at it and then closed it back, and I could see that they were resealed, and I've had to like report a couple of those. So with my packages, when I get crystals, when I get tarot cards, anything of the sort, I put them in salt. And it doesn't have to be like, it could just be raw crystals. It could just be raw salt. It could be kitchen salt. It could be regular salt. Get a bowl of salt. Just get a regular kitchen bowl that you're gonna use just to have salt in. And when you get things, just put them in the salt for a bit. Could be a day, 2 days, whatever, before you use them, before you put them on your body. And crystals are no different. So if anybody's put any negative energy or any kind of weirdness on your crystal so that your crystal won't function or things will happen, put it in salt, leave it for a bit, a minimum of like 1 day or 2, and then you can go ahead and wear your stuff. And then if you want to wear it right away, just sage it. I would sage it, leave a door open, and sage your stuff. I want to just say to people who are in here, even if you're a gang stalker, honestly, maybe other TIs don't know. I know that you guys are stuck in this lifestyle, and that's why I'm not like, that's why I'm not super hateful against gang stalkers, because it's like you made one poor decision and now you're stuck. Excuse me, is how I see it. I always start burping only when I'm on live. It's like someone doesn't want me to talk. If you're stuck, just learn something, learn how to ease it, because you too should free yourself. You know, it is what it is. And I'm not saying that what you've done is not wrong, and I'm not saying that you people have not like had a horrible effect on other people's lives, but I think TIs sometimes maybe don't even consider that gang stalkers are trapped in this because of what they've been involved in. They can't get out of it. It's like, can you imagine if you could just come in and out of gang stalking? Then there would be witnesses. Then the world would know about gang stalking a lot sooner. Once they do it once, they can't leave. So learn about crystals, learn about protection. I'm gonna make some sort of chart that will, and I'm gonna post whatever charts I make for the thumbnail of my videos. I put it in my community tab. So I'm gonna make some sort of visual representation and then put a link in the description box of this video that is basically going to talk about types of psychic attacks, how to stop them, the crystals that I talked about today, crystals for different things. Please do not shy away from finding solutions to things that are bothering you. Even if you don't believe it, just give it a chance and put yourself in a situation that at least you're trying. You know, if you're getting psychic attacks and you don't believe in crystals, just try. Just try something. I did not believe in this stuff when I first got into gang stalking. That's why I didn't have all of it figured out. And I suffered for no reason. And it took so long for me to not suffer. It took me getting to a place of peace, because everything that everybody talked about was, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, you're being gang stalked because of this, you're being and really I was like, okay, but I need solutions. How comes no one's giving solutions? I had to find all of my own. That's why this is a solution based channel. I don't care why you're being gang stalked. It's just like, how do I get rid of these headaches? How do I not feel anxiety? How do I not feel scared to go outside? How I'm getting sick. My pets are being affected. How do I stop this? Chaos is happening. I'm being affected at my job. What can I do? And sometimes it's like, I have different kinds of lives. For anybody who's new here, I have lives to do with that are just motivation, that are just telling you like, who gives a shit what these people do? Keep going. I have lives that basically are very spiritual. I have lives that are talking like I talk about today, about getting, you know, just all kinds of things. Honestly, I have lives that talk about like how to make police reports. You know what? And I even want to talk about like how to make YouTube channels that grow. And instead of having channels where it's like, you know, these 3-minute videos, like just all of us adding important information and resources. And even if we don't have solutions, but at least adding information that is validating the experience of other people as well in the way that you deliver it. So it's like somebody wants to subscribe to your channel, support it, and stay. And even though it's hard to build community in this environment because of all the things that they do, but at least being in a situation where it's like, we're not as fragmented. Because I can tell real TIs, and it's like they've just been put through so much. And, you know, hopefully people, as more people subscribe and more people find my channel, I can really make like a better impact and kind of help people, and it'll show, because people need to heal from this. This is a lot, and this is a lot of healing that has to happen. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging in there with me for the people that did. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. I do appreciate it. If you have any feedback as far as like, have you ever been psychically attacked and how did that feel like? You know, if there's anything that I've said that has helped you, please let me know in the comments. It just really helps the channel grow. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you to my moderators. Have a good night, and God loves you.